Okay, the figure is this one, for this particular problem. Okay, the collar of mass M slides up the vertical shaft. So this is the collar. This brown colored, no? So this is the collar. And the shaft is this one, no? Itong blue, yun yung shaft. Okay? So the collar of mass M slides up the vertical shaft under the action of a force F of constant magnitude but variable direction. So this collar slides up by virtue of this force. Okay? And this force is constant except that the angle of the force with respect to the shaft is varying. No? So nagva-vary yung angle niya. So pwedeng bumababa siya or tumataas itong direction ng force. No? But the collar slides up. So that means to say this force is pulling, no? Pulling the collar up. Okay? And the magnitude of the force is constant except that its angle with respect to the shaft is varying. No? So nag-iiba-iba yung angle. Now, if theta is equal to kt, k times t, okay, where k is a constant, and if the collar starts from rest, so therefore the initial velocity of the collar is zero. Basta starts from rest, pag nakakita kayo na starts from rest, always the initial velocity is zero. Okay? So if it starts from rest, with of course the angle theta is 0 degrees. So that means to say, kung 0 yung velocity and then 0 din yung angle, that means to say the force is the force coincides with the shaft. Nandito yung force. Vertically upward din siya. Okay? So yun yung initial na condition. Now, if yun na nga, if theta is k times t where k is a constant and if the collar starts from rest with of course the angle theta equals 0, determine the magnitude f of the force which will result in the collar coming to rest. Okay, so magre-result din na magre-rest yung collar as the angle reaches 90 degrees or pi over 2. Okay? So, magre-rest na rin yung collar habang yung angle increases to 90 degrees. Okay? So, tumataas yung collar. Okay? And then eventually the collar stops when this force has an angle already with the shaft 90 degrees. So, ibig sabihin, kung itong force ay nandito na siya. Horizontal na yung force. Okay? And then, the coefficient of kinetic friction between the collar and the shaft is mu sub k. So that is the coefficient of kinetic because it is already moving. Okay? So the friction, coefficient of friction between the collar and the shaft is designated by mu sub k. So we have this figure. The mass of the collar is m. There is the force F. So that is the unknown. And this is the angle theta initially at 0 degrees. So nandito siya. Okay? overlapping with the shaft yung force. And then, since the motion is upward, okay, so kasi mag-slide up siya. Since the motion is up, then definitely the frictional force is opposite the direction of motion. So downward yung frictional force, kinetic friction. Okay? So makikita nyo rito, ito yung mu sub k times n, that is the frictional force. Okay? Opposite the direction of motion. Di ba? Kasi up yung collar di ba? Upward siya, sliding up. So therefore, kung upward siya, yung friction is opposite, pababa. Okay? So this is the frictional force, mu sub k times n. And it is coinciding with the shaft, the line of action. No? Okay. Of course, what are the other forces acting on the collar? Its own weight. Okay. So the weight or the force that is acting on the collar is its own weight, and that is m times g. Okay. Mass m of the collar times the gravitational acceleration. So we have the force F upward to the right and acting at an angle theta with respect to the vertical. And of course, we have the normal force. Okay? So we have the normal force to the left. Okay? So that is the force offered by the shaft on the collar. Okay, so we have this free body diagram. So it's very clear na mayroong mga horizontal, may vertical. Okay, and then there is a force with a certain angle with respect to the vertical. Okay. Okay, so this is the free body diagram. So we can now apply the equation of motion, no? In the y direction. Why in the y direction? Because the motion is vertical. Okay? So if we sum up all the forces along the y-axis and equate that to ma equation, and that is m times a sub y also. So along the y-axis. Okay, so F, summation of Fy is equal to M times A sub Y. Okay? So, all forces along the Y, no? So, yung may mga Y, so yung dalawang force, the frictional force, the weight, and of course, the Y component ng F. Tatlo yan. Okay? So the Y component of F is of course F cosine theta from this figure. So you have to refer to this figure. So Y component niya is upward. So it must be written first. Okay? So upward force is positive. So F cosine theta. Ito yan. No? If we make a small right triangle, okay, and then we compute for the y, no? So f cosine theta, that means ito siya. Okay. Hindi itong red na to, ha? Pwede ko rin ako. Sir, sorry po. Yeah, okay. Antig di nakasapon si ano? Si Sir na manao. Okay. So f cosine theta is this part, coinciding with the frictional force. So parehas na parehas siya ng direction ng frictional, parehas siya ng line of action, except that pataas siya. Kasi yung frictional force, nakikita nyo pababa, di ba? Itong red na itong pababa sa friction yan. Pero yung Y component ni F is pataas, pero coinciding with the frictional force. Yan din ang line of action niya, no? Nung component ng F. And that is F times cosine theta because it is adjacent to the angle theta. Okay? So F cosine theta minus the frictional force, so mu sub k times n, so minus mu sub k times n, and then minus also the weight, no? Itong mg, because both are downward. So minus. Okay, kaya minus mu k times n minus mg. Bakit minus yung dalawa? Because they are directed vertically downward. Okay? So these three y components or y forces must be equated to m times a sub y. Okay? But acceleration is defined as the derivative of the velocity with respect to time. So that is m times dv over dt. Okay? So that is the equation, no? So as you can see, hindi muna natin sinosolve na in terms of what do you call that? Differential equation ba yan or derivative? So not yet, no? So we just formulate the equation first. So using summation of vertical forces is equal to m times a sub y, and a sub y is written in derivative form, no? Yung m times dv over dt. Okay? Now, the equilibrium in the horizontal direction, okay, requires, no, that the normal force, itong horizontal force directed to the left, itong n, no? So, the equilibrium in the horizontal direction requires that n is equal to f sine theta. Okay, so ito, yung y component ng f, no? So that is f sine of theta. Okay? So sine because normal is horizontal, so ito siya. Okay? Ito siya, yung magko-close nitong right triangle dito. Okay? So that is now equal to, so substituting the angle theta which is equal to kt from the problem, di ba? Ito yan, from the problem, sabi dito, if they, ito, theta, if theta is equal to kt, okay, then we have, ayan, no? So, yung equilibrium requires that n is equal to f sine theta. So, dalawa lang sila, yung normal tsaka yung x component ng f. Silang dalawa lang naman ang uh, horizontal components. Okay? So, if we substitute theta equal to kt and then integrating first between general limits. Okay? So, f over k times sine kt plus mu sub k times cosine kt minus 1. Then, close quantity yun, no? Minus mgt is equal to mv. Okay? So, sinubstitute yung theta is equal to kt. Kaya makikita nyo rito, wala na siyang theta. No? Makikita nyo, ano na yun, in terms of k na. No? Nawala na yung angle. Kasi nga, nireplace yung angle theta ng kt. Okay? So, yung sine theta, magiging sine kt. Okay? So, ayan na siya. So, sine kt. Okay? So, f over k times sine kt plus mu k times cosine kt minus 1 minus mgt is equal to m times v. Okay? So, in-integrate na kasi siya. Okay? So, after integrating, so ito na yung lumabas. Okay? So, inalis na yung dt, multiplying both sides by dt so that dt is cancelled on the right and magkakaroon na dito sa left-hand side ng differential in t. Okay? So, multiplying each, no, each of these terms, no, ito, by dt. So, f cosine theta dt minus mu k n dt minus mg dt. Okay? Substitute muna yung in place of theta, magiging kt. Then, integrate, no? Integrate between limits. Okay? Ito bagang cosine, integral ng cosine is what? Sine, di ba? Kaya meron siya rito. Sine kt times k. Di ba? Times k dt. And then, since wala siyang k, pero kailangan yung lagay ang k, that's why you balance that, mag-introduce kayo ng k, then you balance by 1 over k. Kaya nagkaroon ng f over k times sine kt. Okay? Ito namang mu k times n. Okay? But n is f sine theta. So, i-substitute nyo na naman to dito. Okay? So, ito magiging mu k sine theta. So, pag in-integrate mo yan, okay? So, mu times f sine theta. Okay? And then, yung integral ni sine is negative cosine. So, negative times negative sa mu k, that's why naging positive siya dito. Okay? Minus mg dt. Okay? So, minus mg dt. So, mg is constant, but dt is not. So, integral ni dt is t, kaya minus mg times t. Equal to mv, kasi integral ni mdv is mv. Okay? So, yun yung after integrating. And then, dito na natin sa substitute when the angle reaches 90 degrees, or that is pi over 2, the time becomes t is equal to pi over 2k. Okay? So, yun yung sa problem na yun, sa sample problem. And then for theta is equal to 90 degrees, the time becomes t is equal to pi over 2k, and v is equal to 0. Okay? So that f over k times the quantity 1 plus mu k times 0 minus 1. Okay? And so on. So dito, ito na yung f is mg pi over 2 times 1 minus mu L. Okay? So yun na yun. Pinapahanap sa atin yung magnitude ng force. Okay? So yung force, so makikita nyo rito, okay? So sinold na yung F. Okay? So tinranspose mo na yung mg pi over 2k to the right. Okay? And then yung mg pi over 2k. Then divide by this one. And then solve for f. Okay? Yan, ito na yung lumabas. Okay? So that is the force in terms of parang naka-formula siya. Mg pi over 2 times 1 minus mu k. Na-cancel yung k, no? Kasi nung dinistribute to, minultiply ito dito. Okay? So any question dito? Paano nakuha to is application of your differential equation. Okay? F cosine theta. Inalis muna kasi yung dt dito. No? Minultiply mo na both sides by dt. Kaya itong left naging f cosine theta dt minus mu k n dt minus mg dt is equal to mdv. Did you get it?
Ano?
And then, after that, yung theta na, no? For theta is equal to pi over 2, the time is equal to pi over 2k. And velocity is 0. Kasi magre-rest uli yung collar, no? Based from the given. Okay? Any question dito na kung paano nakuha tong equation na f over k? Kasi f cosine theta dt minus mu kn times dt minus mg dt is equal to mdv. Okay? And then, pag natanggal yung dt, So may dt na dito sa left, nawala na siya sa right, pero may dv siya. So you can now integrating both sides. Okay? So integrate one at a time, yung f cosine theta. Pero before you integrate, papalitan nyo ng kt, yung theta. At yung n, si f sine theta. Yun yung dalawang papalitan nyo. Okay? Nakakuha ba or do I need to explain that? Write that? So tapos na kayong DE. Okay? So pakita ko lang ha. So F cosine theta.
Ikulong ko na naman ikaw. Kwarto ni ate.
Okay, the solution is quite long, no? Kasi applyan nyo kasi ito ng differential and integral. So this is ito kung paano nag-evolve kung paano siya naging ganito. Okay, ito. So you recall your um, integration and differential equations. Okay. Ayan, medyo long solution siya. That is, kasi kailangan yung mag-recall ng integral and differential. Or even derivative. Kasi meron ditong derivative ng trigo function. Okay? Yung sa sine at sa cosine. So medyo mahabang process. So you need to recall integration of trigonometric functions and also yes, no? Yung derivative and integral of trigo functions. Okay, so mahaba siya. But you try to practice kung paano ini-integrate, no? Basta ang pinaka-objective is you integrate but you remove first. Okay? Eto, bago nyo kasi ito ma-integrate, kailangan tanggalin nyo si dt. Okay, so you multiply both sides by dt. Okay? Tapos, ito magiging f cosine dt, f cosine theta dt minus mu sub k times n dt minus mg times dt is equal to m times dv. Kasi wala na yung dt dito kasi nag-multiply nga tayo ng dt. So na-cancel yung dt dito sa right. Kaya magiging mdv na lang siya. And then, since left and right-hand equation now contain dt, we are now ready to integrate. But, kailangan muna nating i-substitute kay theta. Instead na theta, so magiging f cosine kt. Papalitan na natin si theta ng kt. So, f cosine kt minus mu sub k times n times dt minus mg dt is equal to mdv. Okay? Pero may n tayo dito. Papalitan na naman natin itong n, yung normal force, ng f sin theta. Okay? Tatlong process ito pagdating dito sa n. Kasi si n, papalitan natin ng f sin theta. And then si theta naman, papalitan na naman natin ng kt. Nakita nyo yung mga transformation? Papalitan nyo na naman to. So, halimbawa, mu sub k times f sin kt. Yun yung mga transformation na napalit dito sa mu sub k times n. Okay? So, ito, solving for F. Okay, so ang nangyari, ito, transpose muna to the right para maging positive. Okay? And then, ito, nung transpose na yon, so magiging mg pi over 2k. Tapos, minultiply si k, then in-over kay 1 plus mu k times 0 minus 1. So now this is f. So cancel. So we have mg pi. Okay. All over uh, negative 1 minus mu k. So therefore, this is now mg all over 2. Okay. Ito, no? So kung paano na-solve, okay, so this is how we derive the force. Okay? So, transpose muna yung mg pi over 2k to the right. So, naging positive na siya. Right? And then, since merong f over k sa left, yung k, minultiply natin doon. So, napunta na siya doon. Multiplier na siya ni mg pi over 2k. So, k will cancel. Okay? Mawawala yung k. Okay? So, magiging mg pi over 2 na lang siya. Then, divided by 1 plus mu sub k times 0 minus 1. So, 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Okay? Kaya magiging 1 minus mu sub k. Okay? So, yung denominator magiging 1 minus mu sub k. Bakit naging minus mu sub k? Kasi yung negative 1 dito sa 0 minus 1. So, yun na yung negative, yun na yung naging sign dito, 1 minus. Kasi naging negative si mu sub k. So, therefore, if we are going to simplify, yung f is mg pi all over yung 2 bababa and 2 will now go with 1 minus mu sub k. So, merong mg pi all over 2 times the quantity 1 minus mu sub k. So, yun na yung force. Okay? So, ito na yung force. Itong naka-encircle. That's now the magnitude of the force. Okay? Okay, ito naman mga curvilinear motion. No? Okay. What time is it kayo kay Ma'am Francia?
Ay po, sir, dapat kanina po pong 10:30.
10:30. Naghihintay na ba?
Yes po, sir.
O sige, continue na lang uli natin to. Schedule na lang uli. I'll just inform you. Okay?
Sir, di ba last day po namin, 24 po?
Kailan ba yung 24? Ngayong week ba yan?
Tuesday po, next week.
Next week? Oo, sige. So, schedule na lang natin yung exams. Next week. Okay, so we will try whatever we are going to cover. And then hanggang dun lang. Okay? So I'm sorry masyadong maraming mga faculty kasi very busy, no? As usual naman, every second sem ganun, no? Yung mga graduating, may defense, and considering, yun nga, ang ME kasi is kakaunti na lang ang faculty, pero we are in the process of hiring, no? Mga 1 or 2 more faculty members. Okay, so schedule na lang natin siguro 1 more meeting and then exam. Okay, so thank you class for your participation.
Sige po,
Okay, so
sir.
I'll just inform
Thank you
you.
po, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your participation.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye,
Thank
class.
you.
Thank you
Bye
po,
po,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.